Hello everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching InNews by Drishti IAS. In this video, we will be discussing a recent development which happened in Assam. So, Assam's State Assembly actually passed a bill which is dealing with the Muslim marriage laws. There was another bill which was existing there that was dating back to 1935, and government has said that it is colonial in nature, and that is why they have come up with the new bill. We will try to understand the old provisions, we will see why the new ones was needed, and we will try to understand the features of the new law as well. So let's start with the discussion. So in today's discussion, we'll be first looking at the news, then we will be talking about the Muslim Marriage and Divorce Registration Act 1935. This is the colonial act which we were talking about. Then we'll talk about the rationale behind repeal. So why the Assam government has actually gone for the repeal of this particular act. We will talk about those rationales, and then we will talk about the features of the new laws. We will try to understand what is the controversy, or you can say that what are the argument against this particular new law has been put forward by the opposition over there, and in the end there will be a practice question for you. So let's start with the news first. So recently Assam's new Muslim marriage law, officially titled the Assam Compulsory Registration of Muslim Marriages and Divorce Bill 2024, aims to prevent child marriage, eliminate polygamy, and ensure marriages that are consensual. Okay. So basically here what they are doing is that they have come up with a new law, and which is focusing on avoiding child marriages and avoiding the practice of polygamy. Okay. And it is to make sure that marriages there are consensual in nature. Okay. It replaces the colonial-era act. We have talked about that act, which is 1935 act, and which has been replaced by this particular new bill. Okay, so that is there. Now moving further, if we talk about the Muslim Marriage and Divorce Registration Act 1935, this is a colonial-era act. You can see that it is dating back to 1935, and since then there was no new act which has been bought by the government over there. So it is a colonial era legislation established under the British rule in 1935, which used to govern the process related to the registration of marriages, okay, and alignment with the Muslim personal law. When we are talking about this particular act which was there in 1935, it was having this influence, or you can say the personal law's influence was there, okay. Then role of kazis. In this particular act, there was this provisions that any person to whom state is authorizing or giving a license, he can go for the officiating such marriages. Okay, so here you will be seeing the law authorized the state to grant licenses to Muslim individual known as kazis to register marriage and divorces. So basically he will be the person who will officiate the marriages, and he will also register the divorces as well. Okay. Then this particular kazi will have a status of a public servant. Okay, kazis were to consider public servant with 95 kazis which are available right now in state of Assam. Okay, so now when we are talking about this 1935 act, there are certain rationales which has been provided by the government that we need to have a new law. Okay, so let's see what were there. First thing, it was colonial in nature, that was there. Second thing is, since 1935 there has been different you can say society has gone through different changes, so there is a need to come up with a new law. Other than that, there are certain you can say concerns related to child marriage, polygamy, etc. were there, so government has addressed those. Now government argued that in 1935 act permitted the registration of marriage involving minors. Okay, in that particular act there were two sections. One is section 8 and section 10. These sections were related to, or they were having some kind of provisions which was allowing the marriages of minors as well. Okay, so here you can see section 8 allowed minors to marry with the application made by their lawful guardian. In case if there is a minor, then their lawful guardian can make a application for the marriage. Okay, so that was one provision. Then section 10 was also involving some kind of provision. It enables the registration of marriages involving the minors. Okay, so that was one concern of the government, that it is involving the marriages of minor. Okay, so that was one thing. Second thing is, government is saying that the goal is to eliminate the role of kazis. Okay, now they are saying that since there are kazis which are involved in this particular process, so you can say that there is a less accountability. Okay, to ensure that there is a more accountability, they have introduced the registration by the government officials. Okay, so registration by government officers would enhance the accountability and reduce the prevalence of the child marriages. So the new bill has the provisions which is ensuring more accountability. Okay. Now let's see, when we talk about the features of the new one, so here you will be seeing that marriage registration. Now in the marriage registration, they have actually eliminated the role of kazis. Now registration will be done by the government officials. Okay, so here you will be seeing the government appointed marriage and divorce registrars will be overseeing the process. Okay. Now condition for the marriage, as we have seen that there was this problem which was related to the marriage of minors. So they have taken care of that problem. The bride must be at least 18 years old and the groom 21 years old. So that is one thing. Second thing is, marriage must be based on the free consent of the both the parties. Okay, the consent of the bride and groom will be important over here. Okay, so that is second thing. At least one party must have resided in the district for 30 days before giving the notice. You have to give a notice of 30 days, and then you can go for actually the that particular process of the marriage. Before that, you have to give a 30 days notice. So for that notice to be given, one party should be living in that particular area for at least 30 days. Okay, then the parties must not be within the prohibited degree of relationship according to Muslim laws. Okay, so in Muslim laws there is a degree of relationship up till which you cannot marry. Okay, so that is there. So that particular portion will be followed here also. Okay, other than that, there are other provisions, that is notice period. As I told you that you have to give a 30 days prior notice to the registrar. Okay, and you can say residence requirement is also there, which we have already discussed. Now objections and appeal. Okay, now in this particular 30 days time, anyone can go for the objections. Okay, objection can be raised during the notice period, and there are provisions for appeal if the marriage is not registered. Now you can say till then you can go for the appeal as well. Now if the registrar discovered that either party is undergoing during the document scrutiny, they must report the child marriage. Okay, now when you are there and you are going through the documentation, registrar is going through the documentation, and he realizes that there is a minor which is involved. So in that case, he has to inform the authorities so that they can be actually convicted under the, you can say, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006. This is a central government's act. Okay, and this act is there to prohibit child marriages. Okay, now penalties for violation: if the registrar is not following the procedure, if registrar is, despite knowing the fact that there is a child marriage which is involved, or you can say the minor is involved, in that case he will also be facing penalties. He can be you can say undergoing a imprisonment up to a year, or a fine up to 50,000 rupees, or both. Okay, so that is there. There are penalty provisions are also there. Then when we are talking about the objection, that can be raised within the notice period as well. Okay, now when we are talking about the arguments which are against this particular bill, so there are various opposition leaders who has said that government could have achieved this particular objective by just making amendments in the section 8 and 10, which we have already discussed. We have seen that they were related to the minors marriage. Okay, so that was one thing. So they have said that that could have been done. So they did not have to repeal the whole law. Okay, but government had other concerns as well. Second thing is criticized for being more complex than the old one. Okay, now since the thing is, earlier there was this Kaji, and you can directly go and register your marriage over there, and guardian can go for the application of the minors marriage as well. Okay, but the thing is, according to some people, it is said that the procedure here would be complex because there is a notice of 1 month, etc. All these things are there. Third thing is drawing heavily from the Special Marriage Act. There are certain provisions. If we talk about the this requirement of the notice, etc., these are the provisions which are there in the Special Marriage Act. When we are talking about the Special Marriage Act, that is for the, you can say, marriages which are beyond your communities. Okay, so that is there. So in this regard, these are certain arguments which has been you can say put forward by the different section of the society. So this is about the new development which has happened. We have discussed the old law, we have discussed the new law, we have seen the what is the reason government has taken you can say this particular step. Okay, other than that, we have seen the argument against that particular bill. Okay, now in the last we will be discussing one question that is for your practice. Here you can see, what is one of the key conditions that must be met for a marriage to be registered under the new Muslim marriage law in Assam? The groom must be at least 18 years old. The couple must belong to the same district. The bride must have at least attained the age of 18 years and the groom 21 years. The marriage must be conducted by a kazi. Okay, so these are 4 conditions which are given. You have to choose which is there in the new law. Okay, So you can attempt this question, answer me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.